Shrunu tatra drishtantam. Listen to an illustration regarding that matter. The question was, why do they don't know that we have come from the existence? This is the question. For that they have given a good example. इमा सौम्य नद्य प्रस्तात् प्राच्यस्यन्दन्ते पश्चात् प्रतीच्य ता समुद्रा समुद्रम एवापियन्ते स समुद्र एव भवति ता यथा तत्र न विदुर यमहमस्मि यमहमस्मीति. इमा, हे सौम्या, ओ गुड लुकिंग वन, इमा नद्य, these rivers purastat, that flow towards the eastern direction, prachya syandante, flow to the east. Similarly, paschat, the westward rivers, pratichya, they flow towards the western direction. Taha, they, samudrad samudram evapi vanti, they have risen from the sea and at last they enter, merge back into the sea itself. This is what they don't know. When they are flowing also they don't know. We have come from the sea and we are going to the sea. We will be merging in the sea, and when we are in the sea also, they don't identify themselves separately. So, sa samudra eva bhavati, that becomes sa samudra eva bhavati. That means to say, at all the different stages, what is there? Only the ocean, the sea. In the form of clouds, in the form of rivers, in the form of rain, in the form of streams, rivers, and then it lasts back into the ocean. Even all these forms also, it is ocean, the sea itself. Sa samudra eva bhavati. But tayatha tatra na viduhu, as those rivers in that particular stages also, they don't know this. Yam aham asmiti, yam aham asmiti. Just like the honey, the juices, they don't know. We are from that particular tree, we are from that particular tree. Similarly, these rivers also don't know that I am Ganga, I am Yamuna, when they are in the form of the sea. The answer seems to be here a little bit same, but in this portion, samudrat samudrameva apyanti. There it is, the answer is being given. The rest is same as the juices, the honey. There the juices are saying they don't know, they don't have the distinctive idea, this knowledge that I am of that particular tree, of mango tree, I am the juice of the jackfruit tree, or so and so. Similarly, here also, when they have reached into the ocean, they merged into the ocean, at that time the Ganga does not know that this water in this ocean is Ganga, this much water in this ocean is Yamuna. That separation is not there at all. It is similar. The answer is similar. There will be a doubt here. When the mantra is saying this way, there is no difference. Even the question was different. The first question was, why we don't know that we have merged. For that the example was honey. That's right. Just like in honey, all juices merge into, but they don't identify. Similarly, we are also merged into existence and we don't identify ourselves. And here also you are saying the same thing. The rivers get into the ocean, and once they are merged into the ocean, the rivers don't identify themselves. So what is the difference? The difference is in the question. Why I don't know that I have come from existence? Just like a person goes to another village and he knows that I have come from my house. So the example given here, the illustration, seems to be the same as in the honey case, even though the question is different. That means question is something, answer is given is something else. Is not right. Or that the Tikakar will say here. No. By these words, samudrat, they have come from the ocean and they are merging back into the ocean. Why do they don't know? Because the truth is sa samudra eva. They are not different at all. How do they know? How can they know themselves? If they were actually a different, separate entity, they would have known that I have come from such and such a place. Because house is different from the man who has reached the other village. Therefore he knows, I am separate from my house and I have come from my house. Is it not? But here it's not possible, because are you different from existence, from where you are coming? आप ब्रह्म से भिन्न नहीं है. You had gone into Brahman and you are coming from Brahman, is it not? But if you were different totally from Brahman, then you could have known that I am coming from Brahman. The reason is there's a sa samudra eva. See these words here. They have come from Samudra, going into Samudra, and they're all the time Samudra only. Here's the answer. The line, there's hidden answer here. Because we are not different from existence, therefore we cannot say that I am coming from Brahman. Just like that person says that I am coming from that village, from my house, and I have come to this village, because that is possible. In that way, you can say, because there is difference between you are different from your house and that village, and you are different to the place where you have reached here also, this village also. You are able to see both the villages and both the houses from here to there. Therefore, you are to be able to say that I have come from there and I am going into here. But that's not possible here. When even though I am going, I can say only this much. I am existence. I had been in the sleep state and now I am enjoying the waking state. This much a person can say. That is being said also. The question is why we don't know that we have come from existence. For that the answer is, if we were different from existence, then you would have known that I have come from existence. But as and because I am not totally different from the absolute existence, it's an illusion that I am different. Jiva Bhava. Therefore, the answer is perfect in this mantra. All the time I am existence only. Sa Samudreva. Because before it was ocean, it became clouds. Even in the form of cloud, it is ocean itself. It falls down in the form of rain, and the rain form is also ocean itself. It takes the form of stream, even that is ocean. It converts into rain, into rivers, and that is ocean. And finally, it is back to the ocean itself. In all the forms, it is nothing other than ocean, the sea, the water. Similarly, here, in all the states whatever we are moving here to there, we are existence only. Therefore, we cannot say, I have come from existence. It's not possible. So, this hidden answer, I don't know why, unfortunately, Bhashikara is not telling straightly. Bhashya is not telling straightly that these words, that Sa Samudra and all, are the hidden answer for the question. But some of the Tippan, not even the Anandgiri, even he does not say this. There is a Narendrapuri Tippan book printed by Mahesh Institute, Dakshinamurti Mutt, Banaras. In that there is a Narendrapuri Tippan. He showed these points. Because this pondering question has been put since many, many years going on, many period, that nobody could find out why is it so. Because there also he said, the rasas also said, in that also the mantra, you see, the rasas are there thing, amushyam vrikshas rasosmi, amushyam vrikshas rasosmi tyevam, na vivekam, is not. Similar here also it is, yam aham asmi, yam aham asmiti, na viduhu. So what is the difference between the answer then? Taking that part, the people say this is not the right answer to the question put by Shvetaketu. But when we are stating this here, and that and this difference is, there it shows when we are merged, we don't know the difference. The distinctive idea is not there. And when we are not merged, even then, we cannot have a distinctive idea, because we are not different from existence. This is being stated here. This is secret. The difference between the two answers is this. Seems to be the same. Ayam aham asmiti, I don't know. But the answer is the same. It looks like to be the same. But the answer given in which context has been given, depending upon that, you have to explain the answer. Just like Gargi did with Yagyavalkya and Bridandika. She repeats the same question knowingly. She says, I have got 2 arrows in my hand. And if you can answer this, that's okay. Otherwise, she says, you will be. Then she asked one question. And it was answered. Then Yagyavalkya says, come on, throw the next arrow. She repeats the question. That is the cleverness of Gargi. The answer was different. That is the greatness of again Yajnavalkya, who realizes the what he call as the tatparyam of the question. What she wants to say by repeating the same words. The same way here also, it is very difficult to realize why the Shruti is repeating the same thing as before in the answer. But the difference is here, samudra samudrimeva piyanti sa samudra eva bhavati. These two statements are the true answer, not the other one. There it is due to ignorance. At the time of deep sleep state, when we have merged into the existence, we don't have the distinctive idea. The reason there is ignorance. And here the reason is we are not different from existence at all. That is why we don't know we have come from existence. If we were to be different from existence, then we could have said that I am coming from existence. As and because I am not different from existence, therefore I can't say that I have come from existence to the waking state. From one village to another village, from one state to another state, from one house to another house. That's possible only if we were different from that. For this he says here, Sa Samudra Eva. After flowing in all different directions, the rivers become the ocean itself. And when they are going to all these transformations, in those stages also, it is ocean itself. This secret has been pointed out by Narendra Puri. You will not find in Bhashya, not in Anandagiri or any other tika. शृणुत दृष्टान्तम यथा स्वमी इमा नद्यो गंगाद्या प्रस्ताव पूर्वाम दिशम प्रति प्राच्य प्राग अंचना सिंदन्ते स्रवन्ति. शृणुत दृष्टान्तम, listen to an illustration with regard to your question that why we don't know in the waking state that we are coming from the existence. For that, as yatha means as Somya, oh good looking one, Imanadya, these rivers, which Gangadyaha, Ganga, Yamuna and others, Purastat, Purvam Disham Prati, they float towards the east. Which rivers flow to the east? Pracha, Praganchana Sindante, those rivers which are bent to flow towards the eastern direction. Paschat, Pratijin Disham Prati, similarly towards the west. Sindhvadyaha, Sindhu and other such rivers, Pratichim Anchanti, they are bent down to flow towards the western direction. Gachanti, they do go in that direction. Praticha, Taha, Samudra, Ambonide, Jaladharairaakshiptaha, Punarvrishti Rupena Patita, Gangadini Rupinya, Puna Samudram Ambonidim Eva Apiyanti. Bhasha will explain these words. Samudra means Ambonidi, the repository of water from the sea, being sucked. The water from the sea is being sucked by whom? Jaladharir Akshipta, being sucked by the clouds. Punarvrishti Rupena Padita, and having fallen down onto the earth in the form of rains. Ganga the Nidhi Rupinya, assuming the form of Ganga, etc., etc. Punaha, again, Samudram, Ambonidim, Eva Pindi, they verily merge into the ocean, the sea, their repository of water. Sa Samudra Bhavati, it becomes that very sea once again. Tanadya, that means those rivers once again become the sea only. Tatra, Samudre, and now, Yatha, as those rivers in the sea, once they have merged into the sea, Samudratmana Ekatam Gata, having become identified with the sea, Naviduhu, they do not know what? Najananti, they do not realize, they do not have the distinctive ideas that Ganga Ahamasmi, Yam Ganga Ahamasmi, Yam Yamuna Ahamasmi iti. They are identities that these waters are Ganga, and that is I am, and this is Yamuna, and that is I am. In this way, they don't have different identities. You see, our Bhasha never says about the answer. The gist, what the Shruti wants to say, that has not been mentioned by Bhashyakara. And in Andhagiri, there is not a single letter regarding this. He never touches this at all. There is no Bhashya actually on this, Andhagiri actually on this mantra. Agamana avadhi aprikyanam tatrityuktam. That's what he says and finishes up. Tika. But in Narendra Pune he says, Vidurityanantaram Vrishyadi Rupena Samudragata api na viduriti adhyaharya nyunatam pariharyam. In that bhashya, you have to add this to remove the nyunata, the deficiency in the bhashya that we are seeing. He should have told this. In all the states, the means of Sa Samudra Eva is the most secret point of this mantra. Most important point. In all the forums, it is sea only. They are not different at all. Therefore, the Ganga cannot say, I have come from sea. Even though we are naming it as Ganga, but there is nothing called as Ganga. It is sea only in this form. Your Ganga cannot say, I have come from ocean. How she can say? There is nothing called as Ganga. It is only name and form that we are being imposing on it. And Namarupe Vyakaravani. Mritigayate Satyam Vikaro Namadeyam. This Vikara is there. That's all. Actually, it is sea only. Similarly, this Jiva who is coming from sleeping state to the waking state is not different from the existence. Then how can you say that I am coming from existence? These points have not been mentioned by Bhashyakara here. There, the Narendra Tippankar says you have to adhyaharya, take up these things and add to the Bhashyam and understand it properly. Evamev khalu swami maha sarva prajaha sata agatya na vidoho sata agacchamaha iti toya vyagro va singho va vriko varaho va kito va patango va dhansho va mashago va yadyad bhavanti tad abhavanti. Here also it is hinting, the mantra is hinting. Evameva khalu somya imah sarva prajaha. In this very way, indeed, O good-looking one, all these creatures, sata agatya, having come from the existence, navidu, they do not realize or know that sata agacchamahe, that we have come from existence. Why they do not know? That is not being told here. Because they are not different from existence. This is the answer. Iti taya, they in this world again become what? Vyagrava, Singhova, etc., 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 as we explained as before. Whichever creature they were before going into the sleep state, they become that again. Tad abhavanti. Bhashya. Evameva, in this very way, khalu, indeed, Somya, O good-looking one, imah sarva prajaha, all these creatures. Yasmat, due to which Sati Sampadya, having merged into existence, navidu, that they are not known that we have emerged into existence. Similarly, tasmat, therefore, for the same reason, they are not able to comprehend themselves. Similarly, tasmat sata agamyapi, having come from that existence also, they do not know navidu, they do not realize that they have come from existence. Sata agacchamaha agatah itiva, having come from that existence, they do not realize that they are coming from or they have come from the existence that they do not realize. Taiha, those creatures in this world return back in which form? As they were before, in the same form. Vyagra ityadi samana manyat. The rest of the mantra has to explain as before. Drishtam loke, it is seen in this world. Jale, there is a doubt after hearing this answer being put up by Shvetiketu. Now he has understood that why we went into the state of sleep, deep sleep, and why we are coming back, what is actually there in all these states, nothing other than existence. But one thing is there is mind now. Usually what we see is any effect, when it goes back into its causal state, that effect is destroyed. Without the destruction of the effect cannot take its causal state. Just like ghata, the pot. Without destructing it, you can't make that pot get into the causal state, into the back into the earthen state. Similarly, here also, he says, if we are the products of that existence, then we had been merged into our causal state. Is what you're saying? The form of existence in the deep sleep state. That means we should have been distracted when we are going into the sleep. At that time, the Jiva Bhava should have been distracted totally and he had been merged into the existence. That's only the way that we see in the world. The effect gets destroyed when it is being taken back into the causal state. Just like an ornament. Until unless you don't destroy it, it cannot become the form of original gold as it was before. Similarly, if your pot has been destructed, then only it becomes a lump of mud. So this jiva also has to be destructed to get back into its causal form of Brahman at the time of the state. If that is the condition, then how is it waking back? He should not come back to the wake state.
But Swami, we don't have to destroy, right? Because it is, ornament is nothing but gold. Like a gold bangle is gold.
But still you are saying it is an ornament. It is not the cause. It is an effect.
Yeah, it's only the form.
It has got the form, that effect form also has been destroyed to get the causal form.
We don't have to destroy like that. We are saying gold bangle, so it is gold. Bangle is only that circle. That's it. Yeah.
You see, you are identifying a bangle there or not. In deep system is that example I told, I am Aham Asmi. We don't know. That extraordinary, what you call as bangle or any, what in general is effect. That's not there. That means to say, you have to say only gold. To say this only gold, that means you have to see that there is no effect in it, no bangle or anything. To bring to that state, only gold state, what has to be done? You have to destroy the bangle. Similarly, here also he says, if we were actually been only existence in the deep sleep state, then that means we have been destructed. There is no Jiva Bhava at all. Then how did it come back? How you are saying that Vyagrova, Mishingova, Mashkova, how is that possible? This is the question. For that, a beautiful answer will be given. There's the first answer. Dishtam loke jale vichi taranga fena budbudaya uttitaha. It is seen in this world that on the water, what do we see? Vichi, ripples, taranga, waves, fena, foam, budbuda, bubbles, adaya, etc. Uttitaha, rise on the water. Punastad bhavangata, and again they become water. They become identified, one with that water. But how do they become identified or one with that water? When? With it vinashta. They lose their form of ripples, waves, foam or budbuda, the bubbles. They become destroyed. That means to say what? They become vinashta, they become destroyed. That those forms are destroyed to attain back the causal state of water. Similarly, the bangle form has to be destroyed to take it back to the causal form only gold. The pot form has to be destroyed to take it back to the form of only a lump of mud. Similarly, if you want to say that these jivas, these individual souls had attained the form of original causal form of existence in the time of deep sleep, then these individual souls had been destructed. So how did they come back? For that the answer is they have not been destroyed without destruction, because they have been put in, just like a pitcher put into the ocean. A pot put into the ocean without destruction. Here also, the water within the pot and the external ocean become one, but the pot has not been destructed there. Similarly, when we are getting into the causal form, what is happening? We are going along with our ignorance, with the Sukshma Sharira, with the subtle body. And that subtle body is not destructed. Without destructing the subtle body also, the Chidabhasa, the Pradibimba, the reflection, can become one with the Bimba, the Brahman. This is what happening there. For that is going to give a good example here now. Jivasto tat karana bhavam pratyam gachantope. But the creatures, although they are going to their causal form day by day, every day, when sushupti, marana pralayascha, every day in the deep sleep state, or at the time of death, or at the time of dissolution, na vinashanti, but they do not get destroyed. Why? This is the question here. Bhuyayo ma Bhagavan Vidyapet Drishtandena. Therefore, please explain me, Venerable Sir, again about, with an example, with an illustration. Tathaswamiti hovacha pita, and the pita, the father, says, okay, let it be so. Before the mantras, last mantra is there of that previous one. Sa ya eshanima aitadatmadikam sarvam tat satyam sa atma tattvasi shvetageto iti bhuyev ma bhagavan vidyapet vidi tadaswameti hovacha. Saya, that which is this, thus anima, the essence, the subtle essence, aitadatmadikam sarvam, all this world have that as their self. Tat satyam, that self is itself the absolute truth. Satma, that is the self. Tawad, that tatamasi. Heshvedageto iti. Again, with a doubt in the mind, the son says, Bhuya eva. Ya it is corrected to va. Ya it is, ya. You have to make eva. Bhuya eva ma bhagavan vijnapayato. Oh, Venerable Sir, Bhagavan vijnapayato. May once again you further explain me with another example. Tatha swamiti hovacha. And the father replies, okay, let it be so. Asya swame mahado vrikshasya. You see that vriksha drishtantiyam now. Asya swame mahado vrikshasya yo mule abhyahanyat jivan sravet yo madhya abhyahanyat jivan sravet yo agre abhyahanyat jivan sravet saesha jivenatmana prabhutah pebiyamana modamanas He is showing the tree which is in front of both of them. You see, of this tree, asya vrikshasya. How is this tree? Mahato, of this big tree, not a small one. You hit one side, you're dead. Don't take that example. A big tree, you hit one axe also, one strike, nothing will happen to it. Such tree, as of this big tree, yo mule abhyanyat, if anyone strikes at the roots or the stem, what happens? Jivan sravet. Even though living, without getting destroyed, living only, jivan eva sravet. It exudes some juice. Yo madhyabhyanyat. Similarly, if anyone strikes once on the middle part of the tree, even then what happens? Jivan sravet. Even living only, without being dead, living only, it will exude certain juice. Evameva, similarly, yoagrehabhyanyat. If anyone strikes at the top of the tree also, the top portion, the top branch will also be hurt. That means to say, it is being hurt, not being separated totally. In that case, what happens? Living jivan neva sravet, it will be excluding certain juice. Sa esha jivena atmana anuprabhutah. Surely this tree, by this example, you see, just like if somebody hits us, or some blade is we just cut by our own knife, what happens? Blood bleeds. Similarly, you put an axe, strike him an axe, the tree, some certain juice exuding from it. It shows, just like you, a jivatma individual soul, are pervading his whole body, that is why the blood bleeds out. Similarly, some individual soul is pervading the whole tree. Yesha, sayesha, that which is such tree, jiven atmana prabhuta, pervaded by an individual soul, pepiyamana, modamanaha tishtati, continues to be living happily, drinking the sap water, etc. Pepiyamana, drinking water, etc. Modamana, happily, tishtati, continues to live even then. Bhashyam. Shrinu drishtantam. Listen to an illustration to understand, to clear your doubt, for your answer, as an answer for your question. Hey Somya, oh good looking one, asya is of this mahato, big tree, vrikshasya. is explaining Mahata word. Aneka shakhadi yuktasya, possessed of many, many branches, etc. Vrikshasya of this tree, iti. Agrata sthitam vriksham darshanaha. Pointing out to a tree which is in front of them, he is telling this. He says, Yadi yah kaschidasya mulabhyanyat, if by chance any person, anyone, asya mule, at the stem of this tree, abhyanyat strikes by an axe, prasvadina, by an axe, etc. Sakrit ghatamatra nashishati. This is Bhasha says very clearly. And going on continuously axing, what happens? It will fall down, it will die. The phrase is Sakrit ghatamatrena. Just with a single stroke, it will not dry up. Nashishati. Iti. Thus, what happens? Jivan neva bhavati. Surely it will be continuing to live. Tada. But at that time, what happens is, what you see is, tasya rasasravit. From that tree, of that tree, some juice flows out of it, exudes from it. Tatha, similarly, your madhya abhyanyat, if somebody strikes on the middle part of the tree also, jivan sravet, continuing to be living that particular, from that particular portion of the tree, certain juice will be exuded. Tatha yogriya abhyanyat, similarly, if anybody strikes at the top of the tree, the top branches of the tree, and what happens is there also jivan sravet, from that portion also you can see living happily, that person will be exuding certain juice. Sa esha vriksha, here also it is verb, but due to esha. Sa esha vriksha, what is mantra you see? Sa esha jivena atmana. Sa esha, that which is thus, this tree. Idani jivena, now. It is very clear by this example that the tree is also jivena atmana anuprabhuto, pervaded by an individual soul. Anuvyapta. Anuprabhuta means anuvyapta, it's pervading from top to bottom, just like from the top of the hair of the nail of the legs. You are pervading. This individual is pervading and has control and has sense and knows everything what's happening in his whole body. Similarly, there is some individual soul which is in that tree, which is pervading from the top to the bottom up to the roots. So now yes, Udbid has also Jiva. This is Shruti Pramana. Pepiyamana. What is the meaning of this? Atyattam piban. Profusely sucking what? Udakam. Water. Bhaumascharasan. And juices from the earth, which is called by the word sap. Grinnan. Extracting. Sucking, or you can say the word Grinnan. Modamana. How it's going to get? Mulaihi Grinnan. It's the word. By the roots it's sucking the whole thing. Modamana. Happily. Harsham prapnun. Getting joy. Tishtati. Continues to live. Tishtasti is there. Sakari you have to cut. Tishtati. It continues to live. Asya dekam shakham jivo jahade. Ata sashushati. Vityam jahade. Ata sashushati. Trityam jahati, atha sashushati, sarvam jahati, sarvah shushyati. It's very clear now. Asya, of that same tree, yad, if at all, ekam shakham, one single, any one of the branches, jivo jahati, this individual discards its relationship. Then what's going to happen? Atha sa sushati, that particular branch is going to dry up. Dvityam jati, if it discards its relationship with another branch, sajva shushat, even that then automatically dries up. Tritiyam jati, if this individual soul discards the relationship with a third branch, even a third, then sashushati, that branch also gets dried up. Sarvam jati chet, if by chance this individual soul departs from that whole tree, discards the relation to the tree means it departs from the tree itself, then what's going to happen? Sarva shishati, the whole tree gets dried up. The same with this human body we are seeing. It's very clear by this statement also that some jivatma is there in the trees also. Shruti Pramana is there. Bhashya. तस्य एकाम शाखाम रोगग्रस्ताम आहताम वा जीवो जहाति उपसंहरति शाखां विप्रसृतम आत्मांशम तस्य of that tree which is thus ekam shakha, if any one branch, how is that branch? Rogagrastam ahatam va, rogagrastam, which is affected with certain disease or is injured, ahatam va, jivo jahati. Due to that reason, the individual soul discards. Jahati means discards his relationship with that particular branch, with that particular part of the body. That means to say, upasamharti, it withdraws itself from that particular part, branch. Why? How is it able to do that? Because the individual soul itself was viprasrutam atmansham. Viprasrutam atmansham, its own portion. Atmansham, its own portion, its own consciousness, which it had spread, which prasrutam is, which it had spread up to that branch. Now it withdraws it. The moment you rise, what happens? Just like the moment sun rises up the horizon, what happens? Its rays goes spreads all over the world. Similarly, the moment you rise up from the sleep, your consciousness spreads to all parts of the body. And whenever you want, due to some disease, not at your wish, only yogi can do it by his wish. Others, due to some disease or when hurt, you can also withdraw that consciousness from that particular portion. Or you're forced to withdraw due to some disease, etc. Atha sasushate, then that particular shakha, san shakha stringam, but here in English branch, dries up. Shushati means dries up. Why all this happening? Is explaining about the individual soul. How is individual soul? When it enters into its body, how it enters and how it spreads itself. Through whom? It's spreading. He says, Vang, Mana, Prana, Karna, Gramanu Pravishtohim Jivaha. As this individual soul, Pravishta, entered into the aggregate, Grama means aggregate, Samuha, the aggregate of what? Vang, speech, Manaha, mind, Prana, vital force, and organs, Karna. All this together is called Karnagrama, means all this together in aggregate, which you call as a body. Into this Pravishta, the individual soul has entered. He, yasmat, as and because it is so, due to which iti tadupasamhara upasangriyate. Once those organs actually become upasamhara, when one of them is withdrawn, the individual soul also withdraws from that particular part. Jivena cha pranayuktena, as you see very well, because the reason is the individual soul, jivena, along with the prana, the vital force, what it does? Ashitam pitancha rasadangatam jivacharirang vriksham vardhet rasarupena jivasa sadbhave lingam bhavati. Water we eat and drink, along with the vital force, this individual soul, what it does? It turns or transforms gatam, rasatam, gatam. It transforms all that we have eaten and drunk into the form of a child. Thus, what happens? Jivachariram. Since the living body, vriksham or the tree, the example is tree, and for yourself you have to take this body. This is Jivachariram yatha jivat vriksham. What happens? Vardayat. It develops. Rasarupena jivasa sadbhave lingam bhavati. Possessed of a soul. How this has been inferred here? By this rasa. Otherwise, water we eat and drink, why it does not come out in the same way and in the same form? It gets digested. Who is digesting? The prana, you say. How can prana do its inert? Without individual soul, the prana also cannot do. That's why I said, Jivena prana yukte. It's Jiva only. And who is that Jiva? Aham Vaishwanara Bhutva Pachamannam Charudam. Again, that Ishvara itself in the form of Jivatma, and that particular form called as Vaishwanara Agni is digesting all the food. That's why he says, Jivena prana yuktena ashitam bhitancha rasatangatam jivachairam jivat vriksham vardayad rasarupena jivasya. The nourished by the child, possessed of a soul, nourished by the child, the lingam is, because it becomes, a lingam is a sign to imply or to infer that this body is possessed of a soul. Otherwise, how this rasa can come? Rasarupena lingam bhavati. You have to add like that. Rasarupena, in the form of child, water eating and drinking, it's getting transformed in the form of child, but that you have to understand, this is the sign by which you are able to infer that there is something called as soul in this body. Ashita pitabhyam hi dehe jivas tishtati. This is very seen very clearly. Ashita pitabhyam hi dehe, by the individual's, for it is seen in this body, what we are seeing, the individual soul exists in this body with the help of what we eat and drink. If we stop eating and drinking, the body, in this body, the jiva cannot exist, it will go. Eating and drinking is necessary to see that the jiva is residing in this body. But still, it's all according to the karma. Until that karma is there, it will be residing. After that, how much are you be eating? It will be go. It will be going automatically. It is a nimitta karanam. It is not the essential cause. It is an instrumental cause only. Te ashita pita jiva karmanusarin iti. That is very clear now there. Bhashakar is adding. Otherwise, you will be eating and drinking and you will be alive for thousands of years. It's not going to happen like that. So they, ashita pite, they, what we drink and eat, act, they become child, etc. Jiva karmanusarani, according to the actions of the individual soul itself. And sometimes what happens? What do you eat? You don't digest well. It comes out vomiting. Is it not? Your liver is weak sometimes. Some other problems. You can't eat. Your diabetes. No, don't eat sweet, doctor says. You have been asked not to eat at all. It's all according to karma. Jiva karmanusarani ashita pite te rasayana jivam prati lingam bhavati. You have to just conjugate in this way the whole sentence. Tasekanga vaikalya nimittam karma yada upasitam bhavati. Now drishtanta and dashtanta is being tallied now. As you say, saw what happened. If one branch is cut, what happens? From that portion, the jiva withdraws, the individual withdraws. Similar here also. If such karma's result come into effect, then what happens? He says, Tasya ekanga vaikali nimittam karma yada upastham. Therefore, when the result of certain actions, such action becomes active, vaikali nimittam yada upasitam, means when they become active, when they start to give the results, then what happens? Tada jiva ekam shakam jahati, then that individual soul will withdraw itself from that particular branch or from that particular part of the body if it's a human body. Shakaya atmanam upasamvardi, from that particular branch it withdraws itself. Athaya tada sa shaka shishati, then that particular branch surely will be drying out. That time, tada, at that time, that particular branch is going to dry up.